Hello and welcome back to the Land Rover Series engine freshen up video series. Look below, I'm going to have a playlist of just the engine of the Land Rover Series 2.25 diesel. Freshen up, have just the videos on that or whatever. So check that out down in the playlist below. And thank you guys for liking and subscribing and following along. Positive words are always great. So this is another longer video. What we're going to do is we're going to install the head. Look at some head gaskets, kind of the comparison you can find out there on the market. And then we're going to install the head and then, go through those steps and then the big reveal of actually starting to sucker up. So we're going to take a look at that, and I can never keep a good battery on that trying to keep them getting started. But hold off to the end of the video to see the start up and a nice smooth sound of the idling engine. So thank you guys. Follow along and I'll see you at the end. Hello and welcome back. This is a follow-up from my decoke kit or whatever that from BritPart that I started to get obsessed with head gaskets. So we're gonna do a little comparison. I'm gonna show you what I bought and what I got here or whatever. So first off, this is the original one that came off the truck. You can see it's copper. And it was in pretty good shape. There wasn't really anything wrong with it. And the one thing is that it said diesel right here stamped into it. And also said made in England. So I have a feeling that this was a pretty quality head gasket made whenever they rebuilt the engine years ago. So I wanted to find a good quality head gasket. So what I did is I bought a couple of them here. So I bought a decoking kit, and it has for BritPart decoking kit, and it comes with this, what I think is a composite compressing valve. I keep calling it valve, a head gasket. So it looks very similar to an L-ring one, which is a compressed one that has a composite. And you can see it has a little ring around it, and one thing I noticed too is that they have all flat cutouts for all your coolant holes. They're all flat, so I have a feeling that this is supposed to compress and it'll seal up all of your water openings here. So this is it here, and it's not copper or anything. So this was my first replacement that I bought. So then from an American distributor, I ordered 2 copper head gaskets, which I thought were going to be good or quality or whatever, but it came in another blank kit. It didn't have any markings on it or part number or nothing on it. So also the decoking kit is this here or whatever. That was the head gasket that comes in, that right there you can see there. So that's that head gasket there. So this one here that I just got in the mail, and you can see it's copper, has no stampings on it, it has no diesel or made in England, so you know to put it on the right way. But it does have these little compression pieces here. So then I didn't really like how it had to compress, and this is kind of wrinkled over right here. And one thing that I noticed too is that the water outlets, they kind of are raised a little bit, so whenever it pinches down, it seals up pretty good. So this could be a plus. Look right here. See that dent? There's actually a dent in it right here and right here. And it feels kind of like a thinner. You can see it's bent right there too. So it's like a thinner copper than the original one. So then I got one from, is that PA Blanchard in the UK. And look at this. It has diesel stamped on it, and it has made in England. So I think that this one's going to be a better quality one because it's very similar to the old. It's exactly the same. If you look, the diesel itself is actually stamped the same way, where the L is screwed up a little bit. See, the L is kind of messed up. And this one, you can see that the L is kind of messed up on that. So it's actually the exact same head gasket that was on there before. So again, sometimes you have to search to find the right part that's going to be the right part for your engine or quality enough, because I really don't want to do this again. So I spent a little bit of time looking around trying to find the right one. So here's the PA blurt, and also the part number. A part number has a G at the end. That means it's a genuine part, and it's made to the quality of Land Rover genuine parts. So if you have any questions about head gaskets or know something more about any of these things, let me know down in the comments, and I'll answer them the best that I can. So I wanted to give you this just so you could take a look-see and see what the different kinds that are out there that you're going to see out in the market while you're doing your head gasket. So any questions, let me know. Going to do a final wipe down with lacquer thinner on the head before installing it, after I did all the valves and everything. So now I'm just doing a final wipe down to make sure there's nothing on the surface that may be laying around. It's kind of a lint-free cloth, or actually I think it's the old baby towel or old blanket. Not a blanket, but like a nice cloth, so make sure I don't have anything left on the surface or cleaned up. Now I'm going to give a little wipe down to the head gasket as well. Okay, so I got the two back studs in. I tightened them down and I stugged them down in. And what I have the piston set up now, as in this is coming up to top dead center of number 1. I just kind of put that there. I looked on the flywheel to see if we were top dead center, and I took the piston up to top dead center, which would be up at the top here. What I did is I went forward and I took it down, so then the pistons are all down. So I took lacquer thinner, cleaned the whole surface down here, nice and clean, so there's absolutely nothing on there. Cleaned off our valve cover, our cylinder head gasket. I wiped it down too, just to make sure there was nothing stuck on it or anything. Quality, made in England. Put the diesel side up, and then also have this little hole here goes towards the front of the engine. So make sure your little hole's there towards the front. So you take that, slide it on, and center it over top of it. So now we got our head gasket on. Make sure you could double check. You can see the little hole right here. And then you just double check to make sure all your holes line up on your head gasket here. So the next thing is I'm going to get an assistant, and I'm going to help me put the head on. Over. Get it?
Yeah. It's there. Your hands though. I don't want to crush it.
Gotta get that up over the stud there. Okay. You got your hand up?
Yeah.
Alright, break, tear it down. Get her on the stud. Right here.
There we go. Oh, my fingers.
There you go. There you go. That's it. So I'm looking down into the holes to see if the head gasket is lined up with the holes, and it looks like they're pretty much lined up, so the threads should not get messed up whenever you're putting your bolts in. When I'm putting my bolts in. Okay, so we got our two studs back here. Gonna put a little bit of oil on them. Gonna oil all the threads up on these. If I can get my oil gun working. There you go. I cleaned all the threads up already on everything. So the thread should be nice and clean and ready for us to torque them down. So if you're interested, just hang out. You can hang out while I put all these bolts in if you want. Or maybe I'll speed it up. We'll see. I'm going to give the bolts one last little brush. Not over top of the engine, but brush it down to get any pieces that are left. Going to oil the threads, and I'm going to oil the top of the bolt. So they should all be good to go. I already wire wheeled these bolts pretty good. Had them in lacquer thinner as usual. As everything else. You could kind of see on the head where it was outlined of the head of the bolts where they were. All right, I'm gonna shut it off and I'll be back when I put all the bolts in. Alright, so the next thing we're going to be doing is we got these snugged down. They're just down by finger tight, that's all. So next we're going to do is put in our push rods. We'll put a little oil down in there. Put oil on the ends here. Put down in there. Give them a wipe off like that. Oil on the ends there. Go down the row and just do one at a time, just the same as just follow how we had it in the box. Just realized I put them all in the wrong holes. They'll have to go back one. My coat was covering up number one, the first one. Put some oil on there, rotate them down, all one spot. This stuff happens, you know. When you're old, you don't pay attention to things. All right, so here's number one, the first one. I was there holding it with my leg, and I was covering up number one piston. Number one push rod. There we go. All right, so we got all those in. Let's do the rocker arms next. You see these little dowels? When I took they go down, one goes here, here, and here. Whenever I took the rocker arm off, it only had one, and it was the one sitting back in here. So it was missing three of them. Well, two of the three, so I ordered 3 new ones. Put a little oil in there. You just go, they squeeze right down. They just kind of keep your rocker arms in the right direction or orientated. Probably more of a straight line so they keep straight with your valves, probably more. Okay, those are in. So now you take your rockers. Probably should have put a little dab of oil inside these cups. I think that would be a good idea. What do you guys think? More oil, the better. Doesn't hurt nothing. Also, I saw somebody do the zip tie thing on there to keep the springs compressed, so that's why I did it. You know what? I'm going to loosen up all the adjusters while I'm here.
I don't think I did this before. Maybe I should have at the beginning. Didn't think of it till just now. Oh.
There, that's a little bit easier. That should make it a little easier to get everything lined up. There you go. There you got the dowel lined up. Go. Yeah, see that? Now I had to push this down, actually forward, to get it on the dowel because now the spring's starting to push out. There you go. I think we got everything pretty well snug down there. So let me put the bolts, gonna grab the bolts and put those in. The little bolts in. Then I could take those zip ties off, oil everything down again. All right, so now I'm going to cut these off. All right, so I'm going to just make sure that all the adjusters are loose. And on the push rods. There you go. Yeah, they're just kind of sitting on there every which way. This one needs to be a lot looser. So I ended up taking off the valves again, just to make sure that the push rods were in the center, because this one was kind of wacky, but maybe it's just the way it's set up right now. With it being off of top dead center, this valve should be opening or whatever. So I put it back in and just tightened it down and snugged it, made sure all the push rods were right in the center of the lifters. So next I'm going to do the big bolts that go into the rockers. It's nice whenever you clean the bolts up and they spin in so smooth. Whenever I had to take a wrench to get them out the whole way out.
And then you drop the bolt on the floor. seem to be dropping everything now.
Alright, so that's all the bolts in, and they're all finger tightened down. So I'm going to go get a wrench and get the book to see what the pattern is. It's supposed to, I think it's supposed to start in the middle or whatever, but I like to look at the pattern in the book to see about tightening it down. And I'll get the torque wrench too or whatever. Be back. Alright gang, we're back, and I got a torque wrench here and a socket and everything. So it looks like our cylinder head bolts, the 1/2-inch ones, which are these ones, they need to be at 90 foot-pounds, and then these little head ones, that are 5/16 bolts, are supposed to be 18 foot-pounds. But we'll do those ones after we do these ones first. We'll do all the head bolts first, whatever. So let's take a look. All right, so we got our value. We want to go to 90, but I'm going to step it up through, which I've seen a lot of guys do or whatever. So if you look here, here's our pattern right here. We start from the middle and do a crisscross 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on up to the number 18 or whatever. You can see it has a front right here, goes towards the front. So if we're looking at it like this is our number 1 right here. 1, 2, then we got 3, and then 4, 5, 6. So it makes an X. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then that's our first X right there. Then we go 7, 8, 9, 10. Then that's our next X. And then 10, then we go 11 back there on the stud. 12, 13, 14. So that's how we're going to follow it. I'm going to follow exact same way as that. So what I'm going to do first is just use a wrench, 3/4 socket, and just do number 1. I'm just going to do a hand tight at first. One, 2, let me go 3, those ones I had a hard time getting in with my hands, so these are going to go in a little bit further than the rest. There you go. 3, 4, and same with this one. I couldn't turn it in by hand because it's real tight to the head right there. Anytime. There you go. 5, and then 6 right there. There's our first X. And what we got? 7, which would be the right here. Now if you follow the picture that's in the book, it shows you right where you want to be when you have it in the picture in the right direction. And we already did that one, so and there's our X back to here, number 10. And we'll go to number 11 back here. This is the stud back here. 11, 12, but another one back here. Then 13 comes up to the other stud. And then comes straight across, make this X. Okay, 14, then 15 is the one way in the back here. Take the extensions off. Ugh. Get our back one. Okay, then we come up here, and then we got our 17 right here. Oh, what a pain in the butt. Okay, 17. And we got them all snugged down by hand. There's quite a few bolts, isn't it? So, since we got to go to 90, I'm going to go to 50 first. I'm going to go to 50, and then I'll come back and do the 90 or whatever. Okay, so I did all 50. I did them all at 15 pounds, 15 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to take it to 90 foot-pounds. So again, I'm going to start in the middle with number 1. This is when it gets harder to turn it in a small area. Alright, so the center ones are in the 90, so I'm going to go around and do all the rest of them, and I'm going to do them once, and then I'll go through them again the second time, just to make sure we're all torqued down to 90 pounds. So I went around twice, got the big ones up to 90 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to put these smaller ones here down to the 18 foot-pounds. Which these bolts here are actually pinch bolts that just pinch the rocker arm shaft in place. So as it pinches it, you don't want to over tighten it, I would imagine, because then it would over pinch it. You don't want to over stress it, I guess.
So that's probably why it's such a low foot-pound.
Okay, rocker arms are now on. All right, so the next thing I'll be doing is setting the valves and getting them all set now. And what I'm going to do is actually do it top dead center style instead of inside here where it says 1 lifts, 1 drops, and all that in the value of 9. I'm going to give it a try and do a top dead center. Set them both 0.010, and then go to the next one and so on. Like the firing order says on the exhaust, I'm just going to follow the firing order and go through there. Got the valve set. Now I got the coolant filled up, put the hose on, got the exhaust on, intake, that's all put on. Put on in the injectors and bled the injector pump, got that ready. And filter with oil, up with oil, put a new fresh oil filter on it. So we should be ready to start her up and get her moving. So fingers crossed that she gets running. So we'll see if this fixes any of my driving issues that I had before. Low on power, and there's a spit and a sputter on it too. So hopefully we're going to get full cooling too inside the head and everything else. So I'm going to put you in a tripod and then we'll give her a fire up. Up over there. I don't know. I'm going to give the battery a fresh charge and come back. Thank you if you made it to the end of the video. It started up and it's running and idling super smooth and it works great. I'm very happy with the outcome. And part of the video, I kind of, while I'm starting it, before I did all the changes, whenever I was starting it, soon as I was turning it, the temperature gauge spiked up real high before. So now this time, the long starting process of airing out all the air out of the diesel pump, the temperature didn't rise up. So I think the coolant was actually flushing through the engine the whole time, this time now. So I'm very happy with the outcome of it. It starts up, it runs. I'm going to take it for a drive, see how it goes, and keep an eye out for more videos, because I'm probably going to have more videos on it because I got to check timing. I got to do a bunch of different things to it. So hold it there. Thank you. Liking, subscribing, and following. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Plus, stay awesome.